Hey everyone, welcome aboard. Today I'm going to react to MrBeast's new video, $1 versus $1 billion yachts. If you enjoy this kind of content, be sure to check out my Instagram. It's at JakeSea_. I do a lot of boat reactions and boat sort of content over there. But without further ado, let's jump into it.
This is a $1 billion super yacht, and it's big enough to hold an entire city on the water. How do you...
Alright, so just off the bat, this is clearly a cruise ship. Not really many people put it in the category of a yacht. It's pretty apparently a cruise ship. MrBeast is excellent at content marketing and getting people to watch these videos. He's very good at it. And I think that's going to be sort of a trend you see through this whole video of him sort of choosing things that maybe to the boat industry would be not correct entirely, but to people's entertainment and content-wise, it makes a lot more sense to do certain things.
This stuff. And
we'll see if that continues.
I'm going to show you the difference between this and a $300 million mega yacht. Why did you sell me this boat for $1?
The storage just kept racking up. $18,000.
It's cost you 18 grand a year to store this?
Correct.
Interesting.
So this is super common. You can actually get a lot of boats for free. You just have to know where to find them. Boats are really expensive to upkeep and maintain and store. So if you find someone who has a boat that they're trying to get rid of, they'll likely just give it to you.
Thank you.
And after stepping on board, it was pretty clear why this yacht only cost $1.
I don't think the floor is supposed to do that. I don't know if this is even worth $1.
So this is staged to an extent, just from a content perspective. It's an excellent intro to the video, but you can see that there's some lines on the bow and then also this fender or buoy that's marking where the boat's going down in the back. I honestly think that it probably did just start sinking when they put it in. I don't know if they drilled holes in it to purposely make it sink faster, but it's likely that a boat that has been sitting for as long as this one has would sink. And I also think they did this at some kind of lake or reservoir where they had permission to sink this boat. You can see that a lot of stuff's removed from it and it looks pretty clean. So they probably had a lot of like ecological requirements to meet before they were allowed to sink this boat so that it'd be safe.
$1 billion super yacht. But before all that, here's the $1 million yacht, which is a little smaller than I thought it would be.
So this is a Princess. I actually run a Princess and it's a little bigger than this one, but this is one of the things where I think that maybe the content is just taken over again because this boat should for sure be more than $1 million. It's not uncommon to have a boat this size be worth $1 million, so that part's pretty accurate, but these types of boats are more expensive. You can see what I mean. So this one's a little newer, but they're asking $4.5 for it, and it's 72, so it's probably a bit bigger than this one. But this one right here looks pretty identical. It's got the same windows you can see on the side here, and they want $3.5 for that one. So it's possible the one that he found has a lot of high hours and is worth less, but it's not so likely that it would be worth $1 million. Probably a bit more, probably 2 or 3 times that.
Another bedroom that I can't stand up in, and then you got some double beds for the kids.
The stand up in thing, there are a lot of rooms that you can't stand up in. Having been on a Princess before, that bed, the way that he's standing, where the cameraman is, the cameraman can stand, but around the edge of that bed you see right there, there is a raised floor so that when you get off the bed on the sides, the floor isn't a lot farther down from you. So I think he's just standing in a little bit of a precarious spot, but...
Someone's gonna send a rescue boat.
We need the Coast Guard!
He is right there. If you do mess on the radio and you hold down the button long enough, they can figure out where your boat is by like triangulating the signal. It takes a long time. It's probably like 30 seconds, so usually this would never happen. But if you mess around on VHF channel 16, it is reserved for emergencies only, and they will come and find you or send someone out to you.
And now we're going to the $10 million one.
10 million?
Why are there 2 toilets side by side?
Oh, that's a bidet, Jim.
For your butt?
You poop in here, and you wash your butt in here.
Why don't you just use toilet paper?
Okay, so a lot of people do think that these are bidets, and it could be a bidet still, but usually on these European boats where they have 2 different heads, one of them is just a urinal. Boats do have bidets, but they're usually integrated into the actual toilet itself. In this case, I think this is just a urinal. I've been on a couple boats that have these and they're just urinals. Not to get into too deep of detail around how cleaning yourself after using the restroom works, but I think the head going down there, it wouldn't clean you if you were sitting on it. It's just for peeing.
Theirs is another seating area. Oh my gosh. The seats on the $1 million yacht were leather and hot. These are actually soft. Soft and practical.
This is a good point. The different types of materials you pick for your boat affect sort of temperature and how you enjoy them. It's unlikely that the boat they were on previously, the $1 million one, had those cushions because they came with them. Usually these boats are full custom and you're able to choose what you want to make everything out of. So the owner of that boat probably wanted some like leather or something that looked a bit nicer. People make those kind of decisions, especially if they're new boat owners, without realizing how they affect your actual time on the water in the sun and keeping clean, things like that.
Well, just wait until you see the next one. It's massive. This yacht has a living room, an office, a massage parlor, 2 dining rooms, and 7 bedrooms.
This boat's super nice. I think that when it was new, or maybe it's just 25 million because of the content thing we were talking about earlier, it was either worth more money than this or it's just being exaggerated because this boat is a bit older. They don't really design boats that look like this so much anymore, but it is a great boat. It looks like it's designed to go across the ocean.
Chocolate! It's not feasible. It's not feasible! Thank you for saving my life.
This would upset me. Chocolate, berries, red wine, they're kind of all things you don't really want on nice boats because they stain everything. I'm sure it's okay. I'm sure it didn't ruin anything. But I usually tell people not to even bring those things. Obviously on bigger boats of this style, people are going to want the red wine. But on smaller charter boats, we usually try to keep people from bringing this stuff because not only will they stain carpets and things, but they'll also stain the wood teak and stuff like that. So it's very hard to keep clean. Try to keep that stuff off the boats. Bigger boats, you kind of can't really avoid it.
Hey, buddy. Are you relaxed?
Yeah, it was.
Are you done with your massage yet?
This is also pretty common too. On bigger boats with crew, like stewardesses and deckhands, they will advertise other things that they have talents in, for example, being a massage therapist, to help them get jobs on these boats. When people get on these big boats, they want to have the full experience. So if you could have someone who's able to work on the boat and give massages, that's a huge plus.
Even though this yacht comes with a world-class chef, the boys still wanted pizza. So I planned a little surprise.
A lot of boats have pools on them now, like hot tubs and stuff. It's pretty common, especially in this size range. Like you kind of don't get one without a hot tub of some kind. The hot tubs at the top of the boat are still somewhat popular, but I'm not entirely sure if they were moving around so much or actually traveling that they would have the hot tub full of water. The reason for that is the water is very heavy, and when the boat moves, it can destabilize the boat a bit. This boat's pretty big. That hot tub, it's probably not enough water to really affect the boat all so much. But they have really cool systems where you can drain the entire hot tub in a matter of seconds, and then when you refill the hot tub, it'll take a minute to refill, and the water will already be hot. So typically when the boat's moving, you don't want to have the water full. And you can see that it's not all the way full because if it was, it'd be sloshing over.
And Uber conveniently does helicopter deliveries.
So I'm not a helicopter pilot. I don't know the exact designations that you need if you were to land on a boat. I don't know if there is one to land on a boat. I do think, however, though, that most helicopter pilots that land on boats specialize in working with boats. While Uber may have a helicopter program, I don't think that they would let any sort of helicopter pilot come and land on the boat. Also, you can tell the landing gear and the legs of this helicopter have things strapped to them that you can see. Those things, from what I can tell, I believe, inflate in case the helicopter has to make a water landing. So this helicopter has been set up for this. It's probably the boat's helicopter.
Thankfully, when you pay $25 million, you get some jet skis. Tariq flipped the jet ski.
So jet skis are a lot of fun. Everyone that has bigger boats, they usually come or have some level of jet skis to them. As someone who runs boats, jet skis are one of my biggest pet peeves though, because the people that run the jet skis aren't always as familiar with them because they're super easy to use. Like everyone jumps on a jet ski, you can figure it out pretty simply on your own. You fall in water. But the reason they're a pet peeve is because when they pull up to the boat, they bang against the boat all the time. They're pretty dangerous. If there's multiple jet skis on the water, it's very easy for people to collide, run into each other. It's something that you really can't avoid because they're just too much fun.
$25 million yacht, and I'm the only one enjoying it.
That's what I'll be doing, just laying out.
If you thought this yacht was crazy, look at this video of the $50 million yacht.
So to my point about how the one they're on now seems a little bit older, I think that one that they're about to go to is definitely bigger in size, but it's probably, in terms of like timeline, it will probably be worth about the same as the one they're on now. However many years apart, if this boat's 15 years old, it'll probably depreciate to that level.
This yacht is over 200 feet long, 4 stories high, can hold over 200 people, and comes with a...
They said this earlier with the 150-person boat on the last one, and that this one holds 200 people. Those numbers are kind of made up I'm sure that they could hold that many people if you really wanted to, but they're not rated to hold that many people in terms of like Coast Guard and other regulations. They're mostly only ever regulated to hold 12 people, which is why most of these boats are actually made up of crew to take care of the boats. So you can charter one of these boats for God knows how much money. I mean, some of these things go for like 500,000 a week, and you can still only bring 12 people because that's what they're regulated for.
That is slow, dude.
This is pretty common. Almost all TVs on boats are hidden, unless they're like flush mounted to a wall. They usually all come up or fold away. The reason for this is people just don't really always want to see TVs everywhere, but also TVs that are just commercial, normal TVs, they're not great in saltwater environments. It's nice to have them hidden away, kind of add the elements a little bit. I also think this probably looks way nicer than if the TV was just down.
Maybe it's like...
Meanwhile, Nolan overslept, so he was still trying to find us.
Have you seen MrBeast?
They're making it seem like Nolan's missing out, which is sort of good humor. But Nolan's on the Scout, that is one of my favorite boats, and I would be more than happy just spending the whole day on that thing. I mean, it's a 6-center console.
The owner did this. I was waving at him.
That's pretty common. People get a few drinks in them and start doing inappropriate things to other boats. I've seen that a number of times.
Catch?
Where are they going? Are they backing away from us, or are we just that much better?
I don't know what it is. If it's boys, girls too, maybe. Just want to see if they can get something to the another boat. I don't have much of a problem with it when it's food like this, because it'll go in the water and it'll be eaten by something or picked up by somebody. Beers, other things, much more of an issue. They're heavier, they damage the boat, and also they litter. So the food's not so bad.
I don't know what other kind of food they got on this yacht.
I heard they have lamb.
They do not have lamb. No.
These guys arguing about what kind of food they have on the boat. Food is one of the most important parts of charters. Doesn't matter if you're in the middle of the ocean, where you are, people who spend this much money to go on these boats want the best food they can possibly get. So they don't show it in this video, unfortunately, because it's really cool. But these boats have huge kitchens and huge storage centers to hold weeks worth of food for not only the guests, but also the entire 20-person crew.
I'm delivering chocolate.
Yo, you guys want chocolate?
So this is a good example of what I was talking about with jet skis. They love to come up to other boats, talk to people. The people on the boats want to be around the jet skis. But you can see this girl actually does a pretty good job. She's fending the jet ski off the boat. And as a captain, that's like something I do all the time. You're really worried that someone coming up on a jet ski, you don't know how good they are with that jet ski, if they're just going to crash into your boat, ding it up, hurt the jet ski, hurt the boat. It is, however, a little dangerous to have your body out like that and be in between a boat with like your legs in another boat. Because if the waves come, that thing's still heavier than your leg, and it could hurt you pretty good.
At the end of the day, Nolan finally found us.
There's the Scout. I don't know what's getting towed. Maybe that's just for content, but I think those Scouts are sick.
And the next morning, we boarded one of the world's largest yachts. This is the 300 million.
So these boats, when they get bigger, they just get exponentially more expensive. So if this is really a $300 million boat, the guy's spending $30 million a year running this thing.
Welcome aboard.
I literally can't see the top of the boat from here.
We are the 69th largest yacht in the world.
Is that a...
So there's another pool here, and it's way bigger than the little pool we saw on the top of the other boat, but it's also much lower, and the boat's way bigger, so they're able to kind of get away with it. But if they are traveling far distances, they'll likely empty that pool.
That is crazy. There are...
Yeah, they blurred out the name right there. You could also see it's flagged in another country. That's for tax purposes, and they also blurred it out up top. But most of these boats are not from the U.S. Those are some pretty sick tenders, though.
A movie theater with windows that auto-darken whenever you watch something. And
movie theaters take up a lot of space. When a boat has a movie theater on it, you know that it's huge.
Oh, it's so hot! Man really got in a hot tub with a sunburn. Dude, there's more downstairs?
These are awesome. The garage doors that open from the side on really big yachts, this is what you get, because they don't want to have all the toys and everything out exposed to the elements, but also where people are walking around, they want it to just look pristine. So they have these big garage doors that open on the sides, and they have cranes that shoot out and they drop all the toys into the water. And some of these boats they have tenders that I would only ever dream of having as my only boat. It's wild. Can't lose, nose goes.
But keep in mind, there's still a $1 billion boat after this. This ship is bigger than 3...
All right, so this is the cruise ship that I think we're all pretty familiar with cruise ships. They're huge. $1 billion is probably pretty spot on, but it's hard to say because they don't really sell very often. And when they sell, they usually sell in like debt acquirements between like other companies. And when they sell them, they usually just go for scrap. So what they'll do is they'll build the boat. It'll cost them $1 billion to build. It'll be unreal. They'll use it for as long as they can with their big loan they got on it. And then when it's at the end of its life, it could sell to a smaller cruise chain, but they typically will just go to scrap because they will depreciate the cost of the boat over the entire lifespan of it. And if they sell it at the end, then their accounting gets all weird with the depreciation. But it's not a video on accounting. These cruise ships are clearly not yachts.
In all the other ships, we had our own rooms, but this ship...
This is one of the more dialed cruise ships I've ever seen.
Slide, and now I'm teleported into like a different world.
It's pretty cool. They have full-time shopping centers with just whatever stores you want. Spend all your money on the boat. They're really good at getting you on the boat and making sure that your money stays on the boat.
Subscribers we brought here today, we're giving you a 3-night free cruise.
Oh, that's fun.
And if you want to be in a video in the future, subscribe so you can join us next time.
All right, that was a great video. I think you guys, if you're interested, you should go watch the whole thing over on MrBeast's YouTube page. He did a great job. Before we go, though, let's see if we can find that boat. They said it was the 69th largest boat. And I don't think it's that one. I mean, they make new boats all the time, so I'd imagine it would have to go down in size. I feel like they make more than there are sinking. See it. I don't think we can find it. So anyways, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe. I haven't made a reaction video like this before, so if you like it, be sure to let me know. Check out JakeSea.com for any merchandise and all your boating needs, and smooth sailing.